Good day. My name is Teresa Fredericks from Growing Businesses Using Projects, bringing you another video in the procurement series. We are looking at the implementation of the Procurement Act of Trinidad and Tobago, Unsettled Issues Part 3, the Procurement Cycle. What we're going to be looking at is the cycle, the role of the Procurement and Disposal Advisory Council, the standstill period, treating with emergency procurements, the jump from traditional procurement to modern procurement, and my thoughts on the procurement cycle. Why am I looking at that? Part of the reason is the controversy right now about how long it takes for procurement to go through the cycle, and the need to have a system in place that will ensure things are done much more quickly. And the government is seeking to go back to Parliament to get amendments passed. So I felt it would be useful to just show you what is the issue, what are they talking about, what are the problems with the Procurement Act in this particular area. What you're looking at is the procurement cycle. This is the steps that a procurement has to go through, from first actually the definition of the need. And when we're defining the need, we are looking at the prospective suppliers. We are looking at the specific procurement need, the prospective suppliers, contractors, are they available? We are developing specifications, terms of references, scope of services, etc. The next step, you're going to reconcile needs with funds, because you cannot launch a procurement unless there is the funds to finance it. Then you're developing the procurement requisition. You're assigning the purchase requisition, and you're preparing the solicitation documents. These are the documents that are going to go out to the prospective vendors, and they're going to give information on the procurement, what you are looking for and what they have to supply. There are several types of documents. You have the RFQ, the RFP. Normally in these big types of procurements, it will be an RFP or TTB. Then you have the solicitation. What exactly is this? Now, this is not to teach you the procurement, it's just to try and explain to you what are the issues involved. The solicitation is actually inviting bids. You quotes or proposals, you're hosting a pre-bid meeting where you will call the contractors in and you will discuss the issues relative to this procurement. You normally do that before the final day for them to submit the proposals, and you are arranging for the receipt of the bid submissions. And then you have the whole evaluation, where you will have an evaluation committee prepare the report. But this particular review coming in here after the evaluation committee has made its decision on the procurement is one of the first steps in the new system that you have to be aware of. It is where you get a review by a committee called PNAT. That is the Procurement and Disposal Advisory Committee. It reviews the procurement records. Now, this is another term that you may not be aware of, but in this new act, you have to keep records of the procurement transaction right through, so that at any point you can show what was done. All right, so you have the procurement records. You're going to be reviewing that, including the report and the recommendations for the contract award. Remember, this intervention comes after the evaluation committee have made their decision. PDAC determines whether the following 3 criteria have been met and advises the accounting officer, who is in charge of everything, accordingly. What is PDAC looking for? To ensure the approved processes as set out in the handbooks and guidelines have been followed. The approved procurement strategy outlined in the annual procurement plan have been followed. In this new system, you are planning your procurements annually. So you're required to do an annual procurement plan of all the procurements you're going to be doing in the upcoming year. All right, and you have to give what strategy you're going to be using with respect to these procurements. and the PDAC is looking to see if value for money has been achieved. So it is really a check to ensure that we are doing things all right, and they may consult the named procurement officer, who is the person assigned to be in charge of the procurement function in the organization, or the evaluation committee. They may discuss issues with them during their review. Now, I have given you here the 3 types of procurements under this new system. You have significant high value and or significant high risk procurements. So there's a lot of risk assessment being done in this new system. And in these types of procurement, we normally follow the procurement cycle. We looked at, I haven't finished it, I will go back to it. Where you develop the significant strategies and then you undertake the procurement action. The next step is low value, low risk procurements, and then shopping and buying, where you're ordering goods under arrangements over which the authority and process have already been exercised, and you're buying low value goods. These are the types of goods you would normally buy from the groceries and things like that. But let us get back to the procurement cycle. We reached here. When PDAC has given their decision, then it goes to the person who approves the contract in the organization. Now that person is not, the award of contracts in this new system is not done by the board. It is done by the accounting officer, the person in charge of the whole organization. For instance, if it's a college, it might be done by the director. Now, the lower value procurements could be done at a lower level, but it's being done on the approval of the director. But before you can send an issue of notice of acceptance, there has to be something called a standstill period. And this is another intervention that is new to our system. So what is the standstill period? It's really a period where you stand still and you wait. But you wait having given all the other bidders information. It's a period when they are told, we intend to give a contract to so-and-so, and they're given information to determine whether they want to challenge the contract. It has to be done before the contract is awarded. So why are we doing that? The effective application of the standstill period, it is felt, will contribute towards the achievement of principles cited in the objects of the Act. Increase efficiency by mitigating the risk that a project may be halted or may suffer a long delay after the contract has been awarded because of the bidding related complaints. Value for money achieved by reducing the risk of project delays or failures and expensive rework due to bid challenges. Improve fairness and equity by ensuring that all suppliers and contractors are given the same opportunities and equal access to information on the procurement process. Improve transparency by providing a credible mechanism for addressing bidding related complaints. Improve public confidence that leads to greater levels of competition by suppliers, contractors in the procurement process. The standstill period is useful because it provides an aggrieved supplier contractor with an opportunity to address its procurement-related concerns prior to the award of the contract. Its strict time frame and procedures protect the public body from the risk of having its contracts rendered null and void via challenge proceedings conducted by the OPR after they have been awarded. For which set of procurement does the standstill period apply? The OPR says to be used during open and limited procurement procedures for contracts and framework agreements as follows: mandatory application for procurements identified in the public body's annual procurement plan as high risk, high value, and low risk and high value, or discretionary for procurements identified in the annual procurement plan as high risk and low value. The application of a standstill period shall be approved by the accounting officer or board of directors as may be applicable. Now, I foresee we're going to have a lot of problems with people challenging why no standstill period, because the assessment is based, the decision to have a standstill period is based on an evaluation that is done by the public body. All right, now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I can see people saying that they should have had a standstill period and a lot of challenge on it. So let us delve a little more into this standstill period, because you have decided to award a contract and you are sending to tell everybody who was not given the contract what you did. So the notice of decision to award provides suppliers and contractors with a debriefing on the award decisions. It contains a clear statement of the reasons for the award decision and shall include but may not be limited to, and that's important, the following: the name and address of the supplier contractor to which a contract would be awarded, the contract price, the duration of the standstill period as provided in the solicitation documents, because they have to know how long they have, the expiry date of the standstill period. On the basis of the procurement method used, they have to be given the evaluation criteria and scoring system published in the solicitation documents. So what that is saying is whatever you put in your document, this, remember when we discussed solicitation, we said these are the documents going out to invite bids. So whatever you put in there, you have to adhere to. So you can't have evaluation criteria that is different from what you said you would do. The score achieved for each criterion and sub-criterion, and the total score achieved by the successful supplier contractor. The score achieved for each criterion and sub-criterion, and the total score achieved by the specific bidder to whom the notice of decision of award is being issued. You realize there's a lot of paperwork in the implementation of this new system, because for each bidder now you have to give them that kind of information. A statement of the reason or reasons why the supplier or contractor's bid or proposal was unsuccessful. Care must be taken to ensure that information on other suppliers' confidential or proprietary information, including cost breakdown, trade secrets, manufacturing processes and techniques, or other confidential business or financial information is not disclosed. Now, this area here may be some of the very may have informed the decision to give the award because of how they are positioned relative to this area. Now, how long does this standstill period take? The standstill period begins at 1 minute after midnight on the day of dispatch of the notice of decision to award, and ends at midnight on either the 10th working day after the notice is communicated electronically, or the 15th working day from the date of sending the notice via letter mail or a reliable courier. So this is what we have. And let's look at a worked example. Because this period excludes weekend, it excludes public holidays. And this is if everything goes as normal and there's, it's a free flow out. If, however, you have any delays relative to the need for additional rebriefing, then it could even be longer. So I agree with the Prime Minister. The system is very long, but it is applicable, it should be applicable, in my opinion, for the very high procurements that we are doing, high risk and high value. So, but what it led me to do is to take a look at emergency procurements.